minutes late and I get a little distracted letting them on. So just bear with me if you see me looking all kind of over the place right now. But thank you so much for joining us today. So my name is Heather. I'm the User Success and Digital Learning Manager here at Cheddar Up. We appreciate you guys hopping on a learning session. This one was specifically directed to direct sellers. And I think almost everybody on this call is a Cabi seller. So that's great. Makes it a little bit easier for me to talk about different features that relate just to your specific group. So that works out well. And if you have questions that are more specifically related to Cabi, no big deal. Go ahead and just let us know because, like I said, we're all Cabi. You're all Cabi users right now that are on this call. So I have about an hour planned for us, and but I want to make sure we get the best use of your time. So typically what I do is I like to pull up the Cheddar Up dashboard. I have a couple people on this call that I'm going to stop and introduce as well. I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the dashboard. I'll walk you through a little bit of getting started. I think most of you are in a spot where you already have accounts and you're in a pretty good spot with understanding how our subscription team plan works. But I will just cover that because, yeah, I think I have one person on here that might not have upgraded. So I'll talk to you a little bit about what it means to upgrade and why you might want to consider that. I'll show you some example Cabi collections. Hopefully you saw that today the new catalog did just drop, so that went out today. And I'll walk you through a little bit of where you can find these items, how you can find some of the Cabi tools. And then I will probably walk away from my Cabi demo account and I'm going to just log into one that's not Cabi related, but it will show you what things look like in Cheddar Up when money starts to come onto the platform. So I do want to make sure I cover that view for everybody. And then I like to finish up with customer support and a little bit of reporting too. But this is a small group, so I am here to make sure that you guys get the best use of your time. So if you need me to go in a different direction, no problem at all. Just let me know. And go ahead and use the chat if you want. I do have somebody else on the call because I wasn't sure how many people were going to show up. So I'll let Megan is here. You'll see her. She's Megan Brown. Megan is one of our great customer support people. She answers lots of questions online for you guys. And so if I get stuck or anything, she might help me out. She might help me on chat too, but we're a small group, so I'm probably okay. And then I also have Ann Moss here from Cheddar Up, the Cheddar Up team. And I'll stop and just let Ann do a quick intro. So thanks, Ann.
Hey guys, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I just wanted to do a quick intro that I work basically on the back end of the catalog sales. I work with Cabi to get everything set up for you guys. So I'm happy to be here to walk through everything with you guys and learn more myself too. So thanks, guys.
Great. Okay, well, thanks so much. So that's Ann. And I think I said my name is Heather. So let me pull up the Cheddar Up dashboard right now. And again, if you want to unmute, feel free to do that. If you prefer to drop questions into the chat, feel free to do that. Like I said before, I did look a bit at everybody's learning session registration, and I'm just going to look at it again real quick just to I was trying to cross-reference people's names on the call with your sign-up form when you registered with us, but I'm just going to look at it real quick. Yeah. Okay, so if there's anything more specific that's apart from what you put on the registration form, let me know. But what I did primarily see in the registration form from people was general understanding of how to use Cheddar Up, how to build collections, a little bit about how to increase traffic. I have a couple of pointers I can show you on that. The big thing's going to be starting to think about your own email list. That's what I'm going to recommend there. But again, let me just kind of walk you guys through all the different features of Cheddar Up. And if you have questions, let me know. Okay, so everybody should be able to see right now. I'm logged in right now to the Cheddar Up dashboard. You should see on the left-hand side over here, you'll see a logo for Cabi. And that is something to just make sure you see when you are in your account. So I do just want to point out when you get started using Cheddar Up, if you want to use us and get those Cabi tools and the Cabi resources, you do need to make sure that you have signed up. Typically, there's a link that you get. When you get that link, you click on the link, you create an account, and now you land here in the Cheddar Up dashboard. Other thing to understand when you get started with Cheddar Up, we have different subscription plans, okay? So there's 3 different subscription plans you can pick from when you're using Cheddar Up. And that's primarily different features that you might need. Now, typically, if you are a cabbie and you're using us a decent amount, you're going to probably want to consider the Pro plan. Couple of reasons why. One, some people use this for shipping, some people don't. But the other is, and I'll walk you through this feature a little bit, we have something called the internal marketplace. So this is a feature that's specific to Cabi and other direct seller groups. There's a way you can share items in a marketplace and people can see each other's items. So I will show you guys that in a minute, but I did just want to mention that you do need to be on the Pro plan in order to have that access. You can do Pro on an annual or monthly basis. You're going to get a bit of a discount if you choose the annual subscription plan. And the way you'll know for sure that you're connected to the Cabi a partner program is that you're going to see this Cabi in the top left-hand corner of your account. If you don't see that, you'll want to just shoot an email to our customer support team and just say, hey, will you please put the Cabi tools on my account, and we can then assign them over to your account. Okay. Okay, so a couple other things that I'm just going to give you a quick background on. Okay, so there's this one word that you're going to see a lot in Cheddar Up. It's this word collection. So collection is a very common Cheddar Up term. We use it to describe the web page that you create to gather money or information. You're collecting money, you're collecting information. And there's all different ways you can build collections, but at the end of the day, you're going to see this terminology collection a lot in Cheddar Up, and that's the reasoning behind it. We're helping you collect money. So as a Cabi seller, you're primarily focused on items that you want to sell in like a mini store, right? But in our mind, it's a collection, and you're going to put those items on it to create that store. So you'll see this word collection a lot. One other thing to note, I have two accounts. I built a Cabi account, and so it's not quite as robust as one of my demo accounts, which I will probably move over to towards the end of this call. But we do have something called folders. So you can start to organize folders in your Cheddar Up account, and these are internal to you. You're the organizer, you're the builder, you're the collector, and sometimes you want to keep old collections, old sample sales. Maybe you've built a collection that's a sample sale, but you don't necessarily need to deal with it on a daily basis. So we don't have an archive button in Cheddar Up, but I do like to tell people you might want to create a folder, call it old sample sales, call it 2024, whatever it is those previous collections were related to. Drop those collections in. You don't lose them then, they just kind of get out of your workspace. If though you need to go back in and you want to copy or duplicate a collection, you can do that whenever you want. And then you still have access to your historical record without necessarily deleting it or completely removing it from your account. Okay. Couple other things to note over here on the far left-hand side. So we do have different features related to different subscription plans. So I mentioned for Cabi users, typically you're going to want to be on the Pro. I can't remember. I might have upgraded my page. Oh, let me look and see what I put it on. I think I'm on the Pro right now as well. So I am currently logged into the Pro as well. Let's say you wanted to get a little bit more evolved with Cheddar Up and you might even consider a team subscription plan. There are some features, for example, if you have multiple people within your organization that all need access, maybe you add them on as a manager. If you have a need for a single landing page or mini website for all of your different collection pages to display on, you might want to consider our group page. Now that is an upgraded feature, and so you would need to be on the team plan to do that. The only reason why you might want to consider it, I do recommend this feature a lot to our users. It might not be quite as something that you guys need quite as much, but the big thing to think about is when you're building collections in Cheddar Up, and say you have multiple sample sales, because typically in Cabi you're creating a collection that's a sample sale. Maybe you have multiple sample sales running at once, and you want to create one link for all of those different sample sales. Now, if you wanted to do that, you might want to take advantage of our group page features, okay? Because that's going to give you one link to house all of your different collections. Every time you build a collection or a separate sample sale in Cheddar Up, you are creating a unique link. So if you ever want to put all those together, maybe consider group page, but you would need to go up to the team plan to do that. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about reports. Once you start to sell things and you're wanting to look at your data and your payments, if you're gathering any information, you might need to look at that too. There's a couple different places you can go to see that, okay? You can go over to our reports page and you can slice and dice your data a little bit over here. So if you're on the pro plan, you're going to see each of your collections separately. If you did decide to upgrade a team, you're going to get a little bit more of account-wide reporting. The other thing I'm going to do is I will show you guys in a little bit more towards the end of this call. I'll show you what's called a collection summary report. And it's a great place to get started when you're looking at reporting and kind of trying to understand your understanding your own collections and just kind of looking at your data. So I will bring you guys over to that. I'm going to show you a collection summary report. It won't be a Cabi sale, but it'll still give you the understanding of how the feature works. Okay, everybody doing okay with me so far on the dashboard as well? Great. Okay, one other thing I was going to mention too. So this was something I meant to say at the beginning, and I'm just looking at a few of my notes right now. So bear with me if I forget something and jump around a little bit. But I did want to mention, Ann and I had talked about this the other day when we were prepping for this call. Did want to make sure that you guys had seen, we did send out an email recently, and that is an email that is your sample sales starter kit email. So hopefully you've received that email from us, but it's another good way to get started with us selling your sample sales. If for some reason you missed that email and you would like to have it, just drop your name and email in our chat right now, and I'll make sure I get that over to Ann, and she'll forward you that sample sales starter kit. Just a little bit more of the basics and getting to know Cheddar Up and how to get started with us. You're going to get that in that email. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple sample collections in Cheddar Up, and then I'm going to show you how to build one of these, okay? So let me show you some different example sample sale collections. These have a collection in Cheddar Up has components, okay? I want to walk you through the different components, and then I'm going to show you how to build this type of collection in your own account. So here I've got 3 different sample sale collections I'll show you. They're all very similar, but let's just look at how they're broken down. This is what's called a banner image. Okay, you can put up to 4 banner images on a collection if you want to. Most Cabi users just do the one, and we do have a library for you. So again, that is one of those specific features related to being a Cheddar Up partner that we do for our Cabi users. So if you're not logged in again under the Cabi partner role, you're going to miss out on some of these resources. So you do want to make sure you have that Cabi role assigned to your account, okay? But these are banner images, and we upload those and give you lots of different ones to pick from the library. These are sent over to us from Cabi. Here is what we call a description. So this is something you're going to type in, okay? This is an example, and it's just pretty basic, right? End of season, summer sample sale, spring and summer, and everything's marked at 50% off. So however you want to manage your details of your collection, that's up to you what text you type in. But I did just want to point out that there will be a section on your collection that you can indicate some of this information. Some people do like to talk a little bit about shipping here. If you're thinking about trying to sell across, like locations, right? And you might need to ship. We do have a feature in Cheddar Up where you can add shipping onto some of your items. And sometimes people like to mention it here in the details. They might say, if you need shipping, be sure to select it, $5 per item, whatever. You're the one setting the shipping prices. But if you want to mention it on your collection, this is a good spot where you might want to mention it. When I go back to our builder, I'll show you where some of these features are so you know how to turn them on or off. So here's an example, something else to note. When you go into the Cabi item library, these catalogs, right? The new one dropped today. And then you want to take one of those items from the catalog and put it into your own sample sale collection. We do a couple of nice things for you. The original price is listed, and then we're automatically going to mark that down to 50% for you. So you don't have to deal with this. The system's going to do that for you. When you use Cheddar Up, you can indicate quantities of an item. Maybe for some reason you happen to have 3 of an item. You can go in and update those item numbers to indicate you have more than one. The way the system is currently built for you, it will automatically put you at a quantity of one. But if you wanted to update a quantity, you can do that as well. Okay. Trying to see now, something else to understand in a collection and how these are organized. Collections have categories, which are basically sections. So here you'll see that these collections are broken up into item type based on article of clothing, right? So tops, all the tops are organized together. Accessories. The accessories have their own section, or the term in Cheddar Up would be a category. This is a separate category of items. Dresses, jewelry. But what's nice is that these are getting categorized for you, okay? Now I'll show you where those categories are. You might need to play around with that. If you don't like where something's landing or you want to create your own category, you can do that. But just note how it looks to the general public. It's basically a separate section where you're putting specific items in. Okay, so this is one example of a sample sale. Let me just show you guys a couple other ones. Here's another one, okay? Little bit different, different banner image because you have a choice. A couple of different items that have been listed in the details. Look at this one does include a flat rate shipping fee of $10. If you want to ship, this is one way that you might want to think about how to maximize sales, how to increase traffic. Build that email list, right? In your mind, it's like when you're an independent seller, when you're an entrepreneur, you are a small business owner, your email list is gold. So I would highly recommend starting to think about every person you know, everyone that's purchased from you in the past. We will save old names and emails for you. So if you want to start building an email list through Cheddar Up of former payers, you can do that. But you also, when you get starting, want to really think about anybody you can add to an email list. Typically, you should ask permission before putting someone onto an email list. You're at a cocktail party, you bump into a friend, you can say, hey, I'm doing Cabi, I've been doing it for a while. Can I add you to my email list? Just ask them one question. Don't tell them about the whole collection. Don't try to sell them everything the first time you see them. Just say, are you interested in being on my email list? Try to figure out if they have interest. And if they do, capture one piece of information. That email list, though, I will say over and over again, is really helpful to start to build. One other thing I want to mention on your sample sales. So I had told you before that these will automatically be put at a quantity of one. The other thing that will happen is when your item sells out, as long as the quantity is listed at one, you sell one item, this little sold out label will display on the item. So what's nice is you as the organizer, you don't need to go in and, every time you sell one thing, get into the system and switch that to a sold out. So these are some of those automations that are happening for you. Just going to check chat. Yeah, I love questions. I'll show you where you enter your emails. There's something called an address book and a message center in Cheddar Up, and I'll show you that in a minute. I might need to switch over to a different account because, like I said, I don't have this one fully set up, but we can play with it a little on this account. So yeah, emails are key. That's what I always say to people. Okay, one other example, and then let me know if you guys have other questions about how the collections look to your buyers, right? So again, sample sale, you create a link, you start to get that email list, you see your friends, you're maybe got a Facebook page that you usually put a bunch of your family stuff on. Well, there's an audience, right? Throw your sample sale on your Facebook page. Again, when you see people, mention it. You don't have to sell every item to them. You just have to say, hey, do you have an interest in seeing my collection, right? So here's one more example of a sample sale. Just want to show you guys that. Same thing, broken up into sections, broken up into what we call categories at Cheddar Up. Same thing here, a little bit of text, and then you can assign these banner images, okay? This one, let me show you. It does actually have, hold on, let me see. Oh, it's got a form on here. Now, sometimes you can add forms onto your collections if you need to gather more information from people, okay? This one I can't get to it because it's forcing me to put something into my checkout. But that is one thing you can think about is do you need to gather information on top of just payment details? We'll help you with payment details, but if you need a little bit more, you might want to try to gather that. Um, the other thing some people do, and I just thought of this, and I'm sorry I did not show you an example collection on this, but here's something to think about. I'll show you when I go to my builder. There's a setting in Cheddar Up called Visitor Report. Depending on the type of Cheddar Up user, I will tell people to use this or to not use it. I think Cabi is a unique example of when you might want to use a visitor report. What a visitor report does before somebody can see your items, it gathers their email and name. There's pros and cons to using that. A pro is anytime someone clicks on a link, you're going to capture their name and email before they go to look at your collection. So you're capturing names and emails of people that are interested. Okay? That's another way that you're kind of you're gathering data for interested people. The key is finding out who's interested. The caveat is, though, somebody can't browse unless they put their name or email in. So you do want to think a little bit about how you play with that visitor report feature. Okay, I'll show you guys that when we go over to our builder. Okay, so those are three sample collections I wanted to show you just to give you an idea of what a sample sale looks like, help you understand what the components of a collection are in Cheddar Up. Does anybody have any questions of what something looks like to the buyer? I'm going to go now to the organizer view and show you how to build one of these sample sale collections, but I just wanted to check and see if you guys have any questions thus far. Okay, seems like we're all tracking each other so far. That's great. If you do have any questions, drop them into chat, unmute. We're here to chat, okay? So I'm here to talk. Okay, so let's go back over to
Heather,
our
sorry,
builder.
one quick question,
Yeah.
sorry, that I have over here. How do we see which account we are signed up for? I believe that's in your profile, right?
Yes. So when you say which account we're signed up for, can you give me a little bit more background on that? What do you mean by that?
It's the questions from Michelle.
Where is? Oh, let me look. Okay, hold on. Is this on our registration form?
No, I wanted to see, I think I did a more expensive account, but like you were talking
Oh,
about the group page, the team
yes.
page, whatever.
Okay, yeah. What you're going to do is that's called your subscription plan. Okay. So, and this is also where your address book is. Somebody asked me that question too. So let me just show you where I am. I'm back in the primary dashboard. I'm going to go up to the top right-hand corner where you probably see your initials or something that relates to your name. You come over here, click on the little down arrow, and you come over here to plan and billing. This is your subscription plan. So here you can see on my account, I'm under team, okay? Your account will say pro annual, pro monthly, team. That's where it'll show you what plan you're on.
1 second, does it look different on a desk, on a laptop versus an iPad? I'm trying to follow you on my iPad and I'm not seeing anything that you're referencing at all.
Okay, so are you logged in? Are you using the Cheddar Up mobile app right now? Or did you just go to like a Safari browser and go to cheddarup.com? How did you get to your account?
I was just in Safari, cheddarup.com.
Okay. So as long as you're not in the mobile app, and I'm sorry, I don't have the full mobile view. So there's a couple different ways you can access us. Okay. You can come to a computer. You log in, you go to cheddarup.com. If you're on an iPad, you might have the Cheddar Up mobile app on your account, your iPad. We don't have all of our features in the Cheddar Up mobile app. If
Okay.
you're logged in, just like say you've got your iPad, like here's my phone, right? And I just come over to my phone and I click on the Safari link and I pull up a regular old web browser. And then I go to mobile browser and I go to www.cheddarup.com, not in the mobile app, just on Safari. You should have a pretty similar view to what I'm showing you. The thing to understand though is when a view of a computer, of a software gets squeezed down, it changes sometimes where you see some of the things. That's called a mobile responsive view. So I'm not showing you that view right now, but on an iPad, you might see something a little different in the top right corner. Maybe you see three little lines. I'm not sure, but you should still have a way to access your account as long as you didn't necessarily go in through the mobile app.
Okay. I'll let you keep going. I'll I'll figure it out
Okay,
as
thanks.
we
Yeah.
go. Thank
That one's
you.
a little trickier. I will also mention, I know that sometimes people like to, Cabi users, you may use us sometimes on an iPad. We are built in two ways. We're built for a web browser. So this is a web browser, right? Because I'm logging into the web from my computer. We have a mobile app where you go to the App Store and download the app and put it onto your phone or device, okay? And then you can sometimes access us when you're on a phone or when you're on an iPad, but that's not always going to be your best view. I will be honest with you on that. That's not something we necessarily at Cheddar Up optimize. So if you want to see everything, the best place to go is going to be from a computer or a laptop.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so one other thing I'll just point out, and I can dig into this a little bit more in a few minutes. I'll show you this when we get to a share section too. Here's your address book. So when you want to start to build contacts, you can do that in a couple different ways. You can, so let me just show you where I went again, just so everybody sees that. I came over to my profile. I came down under account. I clicked on the word address book, okay? And this is where you start to build your email list. There's another way you can build emails. If somebody pays you for something through Cheddar Up, we're going to capture that email for you. You can build those names of payers into your address book as well. But sometimes the best way to get started first is to build your own list, okay? So here I created a list. I just called it friends and family. This is that one that you're brainstorming. Who's everybody you know? Who are the people that you can ask and they'll say, sure, put me on your email list. Sure, it's fine. Put me on your email list, right? Then you might start this friends and family list. And then when you want to add a contact into that list, you can do it in a few ways. If you want to pull it from a collection you've already had in Cheddar Up, you can do that and move it over. If, however, you want to just build a file, you might consider that. Now, here's what a file would look like. Look here. You, outside of Cheddar Up, you use maybe Google spreadsheets, maybe Excel if you're an Excel user, but you build a spreadsheet and all you need is first and last name and email. Okay? First and last name can be in one column, email can be in the second column. And these are all the people that have said to you, sure, no problem. You can put my name on your list. Sure, no problem. Put your name on my list, right? And then what you do here is you can upload all of them. If you're not super familiar with uploading a spreadsheet, there is something called a CSV file you do need to save it as. You can do this in Google Sheets. You can also do this in Excel, but a CSV file is just a general broad term for a spreadsheet format, and that's the type of file you need to upload. But again, I like to say to people, sometimes it's hard. Like you bump into someone, you're at a cocktail hour, you want to sell them your stuff, but you know it's not the perfect time, right? So in that instance, the easiest thing you can do is at least still try to determine if they have some interest in what you're doing. Capture just one piece of information you know you can come back to. That's that email. Then you can still try to sell them more later, but you've told them what you're up to. You've indicated whether or not they have an interest, and you've grabbed one piece of data from them to start building that list. Okay, so that's our address book. I'm going to jump back over to the collections now because I do want to show you how to build a collection, okay? So when you want to build one of these sample sales, you're going to come up over here to create a collection. Now, there's all these different places you can go in Cheddar Up. We work with direct sellers. We work with small businesses. We work with nonprofits. We work with schools, right? So there's all these different types of users that are using Cheddar Up. And what we try to do is build a really flexible platform that fits all these different types of people. Our goal is to give you kind of all the different ingredients. You're the chef, you're in the kitchen, you're the one putting together the recipes. When you're building as a Cabi user, I'm going to primarily recommend that you come over here to this payments and forms section. Okay. There's two ways you can get started. You can click here on get started and it's going to build from scratch for you. You can also come over to use template. Now, when I'm in a demo, it is a little time consuming for me to type in a bunch of information. So I like the template. But I do also want to point out that this is a nice place to get started if you need a little inspiration and you want to understand how to do everything. It is going to put items onto the collection though, and if you don't want these items, maybe don't build from a template, just go from scratch. Okay? So I'm going to click here now on use template. You'll see here this is um, a sample sale template. You could search for it if you wanted to. You could type in sample sale here. I'm going to click on use template. And now what's going to happen is it's going to open up this collection in what we call our collection builder. Okay. And this is where all of those components, all of those ingredients for your recipe come together to build your sample sale collection. Okay, everybody tracking me so far? So we looked at some different sample collections. We looked a little bit at our address book. We talked about our subscription plan and our profile. I wanted to cover the difference between a mobile app, a web browser, a mobile browser. I know those are three different kind of pieces of language, but it's basically where you're accessing us. Are you on the app, on your phone or an iPad? Are you on your iPad, but you're going to Safari, or are you on a computer or a laptop? I am going to recommend computer or laptop if you want to see everything. Okay, so now our sample sale template opened up. Okay, so now I'm in what we call our builder. When you're building your sample sales, this is what you need to do to create that link that you're then going to start sharing with the world. Okay, so let's look at the components of a collection. You're going to have 4 components over here that you can work your way through. Details is all of your text. Items are when you want to gather money. Okay, you have to put an item on a collection, and this is where I'm going to show you where the Cabi library sits. We're going to get to the catalog in a minute. Forms, do you need to capture information separate from name and email? Okay, and then I'll walk you through some of these settings. Now, as I build, the builder will move me through these components. And I have these 5 dots down here to show me progress. You can jump around if you want to, but I definitely always recommend to people when you're first getting started, let the builder move you through the steps before you start jumping around. Okay, so here I am on my details. Here's my banner image. Let's just look where you can see those banner images. So you can add up to 4 images or a video. If you come here and you click on the button, Add Image, you're going to see Cabi right here. This is how you get to your specific Cabi image library for banner images. So let me click on that. And now look at, these are the uploaded Cabi images that we've uploaded for you. These have come to us direct from Cabi, and these are all your different options you have for adding on a banner image. Okay, I'll just throw the sunglasses one on. Pink is my color lately. My children know this now. My daughters know that I'm looking for everything in rose. I'm going to get rid of this sample sale image, and now there's my Cabi image that came from the library, okay, the Cabi gallery. I'll save that. And now you can see it here, okay? Now, you might want to add in some text here. It's up to you. Is this really simple because you're talking to everybody? You don't need as much. Are you trying to build more of an online presence? You're dropping this into your Facebook page. You're getting some more Instagram followers and telling people to come to your link. If you're doing that, then you do need to fill this out a little bit more. I highly recommend thinking about your online presence if you're really wanting to get into sales. Facebook, Instagram, just build up your audience. That's the other thing. It's a lot easier to say to somebody, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. What's your Facebook? Than it is to say, hey, you want to buy 3 sweaters from me? Right? But what you're doing in the back of your mind is you know you're building that audience, which then can see the collections and the sample sales that you're creating. Okay, there are some toggles here. Let me just show you them. I'm not going to go through them all. These are called settings, and you have what's called a toggle. Maybe one day you decided to do a pop-up. I was just down the street at my neighbor's house, and there was all these female entrepreneurs. They were actually like small artists, and a gal, oh, out of her garage, she ran a pop-up sale. I couldn't believe how many people stopped by on a Saturday. It was pretty fun. But maybe you're going to take all those Cabi items and you might do a fun little pop-up sale in person. Here, add date and time. You could do that if you want to, okay? In-person location if you want to. And these are some other settings you can turn on or off. You probably don't need very many of these for Cabi, but you might want to look at them, okay? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now we're going to get to our items. This is when we're going to see those items in the library when you can start to add on those different pieces. Okay, so something to note here. I want to slow down for a minute on this, and please let me know if you guys have questions. Because I built from a template, these items are pre-populated. If you know you are just building off of the new catalog, you might not want to build from a template. You do have an option to build from scratch. Again, it saves me time to build from a template, but you might not do that, okay? Let's look over here on the items. Now, Cheddar Up has lots of options for you on items. You can sell all different types of things with Cheddar Up and gather money in all different ways. If you're primarily just focused on the Cabi features and the Cabi libraries for sample sales, you're going to come down here to add item. You're going to come down here to Cabi. And now here is where you see your library or your catalogs, okay? You may have a piece from 2021, okay? We still have those catalogs in here, the libraries in here. The most recent library is at the top. Our banner, our image should get up there soon. But right now, you're going to come here. Make sure it opens for me. It should open up here. And then from there, what we can do is we can find our items that we have that we want to add to the sample sale. So 1 second, let me make sure this opens. My computer's been a little slow this week and I need to restart it. It knows the holidays are coming, I've noticed. Hold on, I just want to look at this one. Okay, let me look at this one here real quick. So let's say you've got a catalog item. You're looking at it in your inventory and you want to add that item, okay? You'll come here, you click on the item. You can click on multiple ones. You can select all of them from the catalog. You can go to search. You can use the all section. You can divide. You can sort by article type if you want to. And this is where you're looking for those specific items you have. Now, like I mentioned before, this is going to be set to a quantity of 1, okay? So let me add in a couple more. I don't know. I'll just do. Here we go. Okay, so now what's going to happen is these items are going to get added onto my sample sale collection, okay? The reduction is done. The setting of 1 is done, and the price is set for you. You can adjust. Now if you look over to the far right of my screen, you don't see your edit button. You have to take your mouse and hover your cursor over the box. As I hover, I get these options here. Now I can come to the edit button, and this is where I might change one of my settings. For example, for some random reason, I don't have a small, I have a medium. For some random reason, I have more than one of this item. I want to set a different price. You can do that here, okay? You want to assign it to a different category. Maybe there was a mistake too. I mean, it's possible, right? It's set up wrong. So you can come here and do that. Now, description. Look at these are what we call a tab. When you're setting up your items, and excuse me, I know my dog's going to bark here, and I'm going to just relocate him when he starts to bark because I have a kid showing up. Right here on a description, you're going to see this description of the item, and those are preloaded for you as well, okay? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, so the descriptions are preloaded for you, okay? If you want to go in and change this for some reason, you can, but they are built in here for you. Settings. Here's that one. Okay. Now it says set available quantity. Sold out will show when all available items have been purchased. So again, we're pre-populating this for you. When you build something off of the library, it'll be automatically set at one. Sold out will show. If for any reason you wanted to remove this setting, you would come over here. This is what I call a toggle, and you could toggle it off. If you have 3 of these, you can adjust the setting too, okay? Highly recommend that you set these once for the sale and don't go back in and play with them. The logic can get a little screwy for you, okay? Some people like to do wait lists. I don't know if that's something that's common for you or not at Cabi, but maybe you know you can get your hands on 3 more of the same thing because everybody loves it. Maybe there's a bracelet that is sold really well. You've got one, but you're going to try to scoop the loop and see if you can find 3 or 4 more in other places. Put a wait list on. What happens with a wait list is it lets the person that couldn't purchase put their name and email onto a list for you. And then if you get your hands on one of those bracelets, now you've got a wait list of 4 people. That's a great way to sell, right? You basically have almost pre-sold something. So when you know items are hot, maybe in the back of your mind, you're going to collect them a little bit and sell just some of the specific items too. Okay, and if you need to ask a question on an item, you can do that here, okay? So again, these are items that are going to be pre-populated for you, okay? If for any reason you wanted to put something different onto your collection, you can do that. You can add any item you want. I don't know, maybe you are going to do the garage pop sale and you're going to sell donuts too, or you're going to pop-up sale, or you're going to sell, maybe you do have a friend that comes and sells something else with you and she's a small entrepreneur and she's selling artwork or pottery, however you want to handle it. The idea is if you need to add other items to a collection, you can use these 4 other item types in addition to your Cabi item library. Okay, how's everybody doing? You understand how we add those items into the collection and into your sample sale? I'm sorry, I did miss that one question before and I don't see it in chat, so I just want to make sure nobody else has questions right now. Now, I'm not going to go super in depth on all of the other item types because I don't think you need those quite as much in a Cabi sale. But I would recommend explore them if you're interested in selling other things, okay? Okay, now you come over here to save and you get to forms. This collection that I built off of that template, we didn't put a form on it. I have seen once in a while people that do put forms on their collections as a Cabi user. And it's just up to you. Do you need additional information from people? You could add on a form like this where you're going to have multiple different questions that you can ask people. Okay. And then I'm going to look, I think at our next spot is where we're going to see the settings for shipping in case you decide to do that. So I'm going to skip a form. You might not need it yourself. You don't need to add a form if you don't need it. We're going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, now you're in this last section before you publish, okay? So you have 4 tabs as well. And this is what you set on the collection before you publish to just kind of determine how you want to manage money. So are you okay taking an e-check? Now, because you're most likely, if you are on the pro subscription plan, you can take e-check. That's going to reduce the fees for the payer. And e-check allows them to just send money electronically through their banking account, through their checking account, okay? Automatically, credit cards will be turned on, and you can choose whether or not you want to take cash or check. If you're willing to take a cash or check transaction from somebody, you'll toggle this on, and then you might still want to indicate how they're supposed to get you the money. Maybe you're going to say, send me a check by mail. Maybe you're going to say, pay me in person at blah, blah, blah. Whatever the details are for how they get you that cash or check, you'll want to include in this box here. Okay, fees. There are fees on credit card transaction and e-check transactions. Those are automatically put to the payer. You do not pay them, okay? They'll go to the payer. Receipt. When a person pays for an item through a sample sale collection on Cheddar Up, we're going to gather first and last name and email. We will send them an email confirmation. If you want to customize the information put into that email, you can do that by turning this on, and you can add in text. You can put links as well if you want. And then finally, do you need to tax these items? If you know there's items you need to tax, you can choose to turn tax on. Let's just look at these other tabs. Let's say that you are going to run shipping. You want to try to reach friends and family, and you're going a little bit more digital. So you're going to hit your Facebook audience a little bit more. Like I said, when you see people, you're going to add them to Facebook. You're going to grow that email list. Maybe it's like your Christmas card list, right? I'm thinking about getting mine done right now. I'm behind. And you're building that email list that you just want to send information to people on, and you want to just gather a flat shipping fee at checkout. You could turn this on here. You could decide it's $10, whatever you want to price it at. You can then use us to print UPS shipping labels as well. So you might want to think about that if you're thinking of an online strategy. You could do free shipping with a minimum order, up to you. Do you want to cover a little bit of shipping, or do you want to, think about how you might absorb those costs yourself? That's up to you. Free local pickup as well. But these are nice settings to look at if you think you want to try to manage a ship store, right, within Cheddar Up. Discount codes, you can give people discounts if you want to. Friends and family, grandmas, whatever, long-term friends. You can do discounts. You can do percentages or a fixed amount off on an item. Access and timing. Maybe you get to the point where this is a hot commodity and people are so excited to get to your collection that you need to put timing on it. You might do that, up to you. You can set a timer for when the collection opens and when it closes. If you know, for example, you're only going to sell the fall sample sale for 3 months and you just want to make sure nobody can get back to that sale, you could put a timer on it and close it on, 11/1 or something like that. That's up to you, however you want to manage it. But sometimes if you know you need a collection to end or a sample sale to end and you don't want to forget about logging back in and turning it off, you might use the timing feature. Okay, marketplace. I want to make sure I get to that, so everybody bear with me. But here, if you want a collection that you create, all of those items to show in the internal marketplace, you need to turn this toggle on. Okay, I recommend doing this. Okay, so you're going to come to settings, you're going to be under access and timing, and you're going to be on marketplace, and you're going to turn it on. This is very nice for individual sellers. I'll show you the marketplace in 2 minutes, but you can go through the marketplace and find different items. Like I said, maybe for some reason this bracelet's a hot commodity. You put a wait list on it, then you go into the marketplace and you buy a couple more of them because you've already got your wait list. So these are different ways you can manage this, okay? Last one I want to mention is visitor report. This is the one that I said is a maybe. It's up to you. There's pros and cons. If you turn visitor report on, when a person comes to your collection, before they can see your items, it's going to capture name and email. Again, you're going to see who's interested, but they won't get to look at the sample sale until they submit that information. So there's pros and cons to doing that. Up to you. By default, it's off. Okay? Okay, I'm going to publish. Everybody doing all right? Okay, the last thing we're going to do is publish. Now you have your live link. Okay? How are you going to share it? We talked about some ways. Facebook, you can do it directly in Cheddar Up to your Facebook page. You can copy the link and share it too. Okay? But again, thinking about in the back of your mind as an entrepreneur, how to build your audience. It doesn't always have to be you have to show them the items immediately. It could be more, it's been so long since I've seen you. We should connect on Facebook, right? Oh my gosh, are you on Instagram? I just got on. Let's follow each other. These are different ways you can start to build an audience and share what you're selling without every time you see somebody trying to get them to buy something immediately. So you can take this link and you can share it in multiple spots. Now, say you want to send it by email. I showed you before the address book and message center. If you come here to send invitations, I'm not fully set up. I'll have to show you in a different account. Basically, what it's going to do is it's going to drive you over to our message center. And from there, you can take this collection and pick one of your lists and email it out to people. In that Cheddar Up message center, you can send reminders, invitations, and messages via email. You can set up automatic reminders. I have seen some Cabi users do this. I will say with a caveat, if people get tired of it, you do need to go in and manually update your list and remove them, okay? But You might want to set up a reminder, maybe once a month or something like that. You can set up automatic reminders. Note on the message center, you need to invite someone first before you can remind them. Here's where you might get a QR code. Okay, this is a QR code. You could have this down and people could scan it. Text to pay. This is something else. Maybe somebody has you have a keyword. They send a number to the keyword. Maybe you're at an event. I've seen these sometimes vendor sales. I don't know if you've ever looked at some of your local schools or churches. They will often run these vendor sales and they're kind of like a holiday bazaar. You could be a part of that holiday bazaar, maybe pay, sometimes they're like $50 or something to participate in. And now you can bring your sample sale there, have some of these items. If you want to take a payment real quick online, you could do that as well here. Okay, so now we've got that public link. Everybody with me? Because I am going to switch accounts now and I'm going to show you what things look like when money comes in, but I have to go out of this account to do it. So does anybody have any questions so far on everything that you have seen so far before I leave this account? Okay, bear with me. I'm sorry. I just have to switch accounts real quick to show you some money. And then I want to show you a report at the end too called a collection summary report, which is a nice spreadsheet that you're going to like. Again, my collection summary report won't be specific to a Cabi sale, but it's a general one I use with all different types of users, and I think you'll still get to understand it. Excuse me, oh darn it, I wanted to show you guys our marketplace. Before we hang up, I want to make sure I show you guys our marketplace. So just bear with me, okay? 1 second, I'm going to jump over here. Okay, so let me show you real quickly a collection with some money on it. Now, here's what happens. You've been using Cheddar Up for a while. You've run these sample sales. You've thought about how to build an audience in person or online. You've been to maybe up some pop-ups, some holiday bazaars. You're gathering names, emails. People start to pay you, okay? Your sample sale, you come over here to manage. Once you publish a collection, you can see your managed view. You can see your balance summary. When you want to move money, you can transfer it to a checking account. Does need to be a United States-based checking account, and you can just move money when you want to over to that checking account. You could do an automatic, an instant transfer, 30 to 60 minutes. There's a small fee. Transfer to bank 1 to 3 business days, and it'll come, no fees, and it'll come to your checking account. Real quickly, as people pay, this is what they look like. You see their name, okay? Because we're going to gather that in the checkout experience. When they pay, you get an order summary on someone too. So this is really nice. You can resend receipts if they didn't get one for some reason. Maybe they typed in their email wrong. You need to fix it. Maybe their name is wrong. Maybe you promised them you would send them, you'd meet them somewhere, and you want to mark that after you gave them the item sent home, delivered on 12/22. You can leave yourself a little internal note. You can process a refund if you want as well for them. You set your own refund policy. So if you don't think you're going to do refunds, and lots of Cabi users do not do refunds, you might want to put that on your detail set of your sample sale collection. No refunds, something like that. Up to you, okay? And then finally, if you were to ask questions on items, you could see those answers to questions here on the far right-hand side. So that's what a managed view with money on it looks like, okay? I want to show everybody now what's called a collection summary report. And then if you have 2 extra minutes, I want to show you guys our internal marketplace, okay? Please put your questions here. Hopefully I'm covering things that are helpful to you and useful. You guys are a quiet crowd, so I don't quite know, but I'm going to assume it's all going great, right? And smiling, so I feel good. Okay, so here we are looking over here on the right-hand side under Select Report. I like to point this report out to you. If you're getting started with Cheddar Up, you've got that great reporting page, but really a lot of what you're going to need to get started is here. Manage View, Reporting, Select Report, Collection Summary, okay? I'm going to download this one. Now, again, please bear with me. This is not specific to Cabi, but you're still going to get a really good idea of what sort of data you would get in a collection summary report. Let me just scroll over. You guys are my second learning session today, so I feel like I'm almost like my throat's getting a little tired here. So I had this one up a few minutes ago. Just going to go all the way over. Okay, so one more. Here we go. Okay, so you start on what's called a summary tab. You can see all of your payments. You can then see individual payments. You can see refunds that you've processed here. You can see fees. You can see answers to questions on forms. Now, every item you sell, so depending on how big that sample sale is, this could be pretty big. Maybe you had 65, 70 items on your sample sale. If you did, you're going to see them all here, and then you're going to see how they sold, whether or not discounts were on them, whether or not you refunded anything. Now, each one of these items will have its own separate tab. So here, every tab will be one of your items. You can then see individual payments on each item. So this helps you see, for example, if you have a sample sale, you have one of every item. You're going to have a tab for every single item when you make a sale. There'll be a lot of these tabs, okay? If you ask the question, you'll see the answer over here. Now note, when you download the spreadsheet, again, depending on how many items put on, you may have a large amount of tabs. So you just need to make sure you're clicking or you're using those three little dots to expand. Scroll over to the right to see all your information. Depending on the size of your screen, you may need to look a little carefully to navigate your collection summary report. Okay, how's everybody doing? Because I'm going to jump back to my other account because I wanted to show you guys the marketplace. Are y'all doing okay? Any questions? Okay, marketplace is coming up. I'll show you that real quick. While I'm bringing this up, let me just mention customer support with Cheddar Up. So we are available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on chat. If you need to talk to a real person, that's going to be the best way to talk to us directly, okay? You can also send us an email at friendlysupport@cheddarup.com. Okay, if you send us an email, you're gonna land in our ticket queue and you're gonna get a response from somebody like our lovely Megan who's on this call today. Go ahead, shoot us emails. We also have a great knowledge center. So knowledge center, you can come over here and look at, I'm back into my other account. Oh man, I hope my thing's gonna show here. Knowledge center, you come over here to help and inspiration. One second. And you come over here to knowledge center. And this is where you can see the all the different questions you might have. You can do different searches. You can come and watch short little videos. This has been a long call. If you need a quick little video, you can come over here to videos as well. Okay, one second now. I just had my marketplace up and now I don't have it. Give me one second. Oh, I'm having a mouse issue. Oh, hold on, everybody. There it is. Let me refresh one more time. My mouse is a Bluetooth connection and it's chargeable and I think it's dying. So I apologize, but that's why I'm having a couple of issues here. Let me see. That's not popping up. Let me try one other thing here. Let me explain the marketplace. If for some reason I can't show you guys a screenshot of it, the marketplace, you're typically going to see it right here. Okay, you have to be on Pro. Now, you'll come over here and you're going to see this word. I had it earlier and I lost it. It says internal marketplace. When you click on that, it brings you to a catalog with everybody else's sales that's a Cabi user. You can search by items or you can search by stylist, okay? But what's nice is you can see other people's sales. Like I said, maybe you know a bracelet's hot. If you want to buy it, go for it. If not, you need to still get that item for some reason. You can see each other's sample sales. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can get it up here, and I apologize, but we have been on for an hour. I know it gets to be a long time frame. Let me see if I can bring it up. But if anybody has any other questions related to Cabi, related to how to get started. Hopefully I touched a little bit on thinking about your audience, thinking about pop-up sales, about email lists, about Facebook and Instagram as ways to reach people. Remember, when you talk to somebody, you don't have to sell immediately. You got to generate interest, right? build that email list, build that Facebook page, build your Instagram following. I recommend too, if you just have a personal Facebook, you don't need a whole separate page. That's where you already have your friends and family on. Just use it once in a while. You don't need to inundate, but you could still use it, right? Um, and then let me see if I can bring up the internal marketplace. But please, if you guys have questions, do go ahead, unmute, ask me right now. I'm going to try one more time on internal marketplace, and I apologize if it doesn't come up. But let me know if you guys are thinking or any questions. Okay, I'm pretty sure I can get it. It's just going to take.
Hi, I have one quick question. I
Correct.
have an item that is showing sold out on my, list in my inventory, and I have now that item back and available to sell. And I usually do like a duplicate and then change the size.
Mhm.
But because I had already selected the item in the inventory, it's a vintage item. It's not from this collection. How can
Mhm.
I how can I show that item again, even though it's shown sold? How can I override that?
Okay, so and Megan, I might ask you on this one if you're listening. I don't know if Megan's still there. When you do, can you still find that catalog in the sample sale? Or
Yeah, it is, but it's already marked as an item that I've entered. So all my items that I've selected are already marked and I can't edit it. It won't let me mark it again. So that's why I did replicate on but it still shows sold out. So it replicated it, but it showed sold out again.
one other thing you might try then, and I'll see if Megan has a different answer, is build just from the regular item. So when I say the regular item, don't go into your Cabi library.
Okay.
Instead, in Cheddar Up under items, choose the top one that just says item.
Okay.
Create the item yourself, put a size in, put all of that in. So it looks like it came from the Cabi library, but it actually didn't. And I think that might be a workaround for you. But I see
All right.
Megan unmuted, so she might have an answer. Megan, do you have any suggestions on that?
Not immediately, but I'm just checking your account, Sherry, so I can.
Oh, you know what? I actually didn't see this invitation. So my friend Sherry, there's two Sherrys on. I'm Tamara.
Oh,
So
oh,
I'm
okay.
cheating. I'm didn't we couldn't find how for me to register. So I was
No
like, just
worries,
send
because
me
I
your
saw the
link.
two Michelles too, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. So that's
Yeah,
but
sorry. I know. I don't know how I didn't get invited or informed, but I missed it. So I didn't want to miss this. But it's Tamara Reed, Reed. I don't know. You probably need more information, but I can start clicking some buttons and go with items and try that out.
Okay, yeah, I can find it. But if you want to start trying and then I'll take a look.
Okay.
Okay,
that's
cool.
what I might do. Yeah, because sometimes the system doesn't want to believe that you could absolutely have more than one. And
Can
so
I?
it's almost easier to just build the separate item, use the Cheddar Up item. The other
Mhm.
thing you can do, here's a little trick of the trade that we use at Cheddar Up. If you have an item picture and you want that same picture, but you're not going to go in through the sample sale, you can right click, take your screenshot tool and just screenshot it, save it, and upload it as an image too.
Wow. Okay.
It's a little
Yeah.
trick. Yeah.
So then one other last question, if it's okay,
Yeah.
is to exposure wise, I usually just share the link
Mhm.
and so that it just clicks right to my sale site. But I'm finding that I'm totally missed the boat on entering contact emails. So
Mhm.
the purpose of entering contact emails is so that I could email them directly from the site.
Yeah. Start
Uh,
an address book you can gather a list of emails, upload them into the address book, and then you can do what's called an invitation to a
mhm.
collection. So you
Uh-huh.
can invite anybody on your email list to your collection.
Is that more effective than just sharing the link? Or is it just kind of the same, just a different
If
way?
Are you sharing the link by email?
I'm sharing it on my e-blast, social media, text. I
Yeah.
share it in all different ways.
So it's the same thing. You might be using a different tool for your email.
Okay,
Some people don't have a separate email tool and they like to take advantage of ours.
got it. Okay,
If
thank
you're
you so
already
much.
doing that in a different tool, you might not need to switch,
Got
but
it.
if you want to explore.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just show you guys. I did get the marketplace up. Apologies on my other account. Like I said, I've been jumping through a lot of accounts. My mouse has died. You can tell everybody's ready for a little break. Okay, so here is the internal marketplace. So just to give you guys a quick review of this, when you're on your settings on your collection, you have to toggle on internal marketplace. Then what will happen is every single collection, pardon me, every single item on that collection will come over here to the internal marketplace. As long as you are on Pro, the Pro subscription plan, you'll see these items, and this is where you can search a little bit. You can come over here to search sales, you can come over here to items, you can search by stylist. You've got some filters. You got some filters over here. They're not quite displaying right now. You've got some filters over here on catalogs. But these are all the different ways you can explore the marketplace. But the big thing is if you want your own items to display, you have to turn that setting on and you have to be on Pro. Lots of good things here. And I've said it like 3 times, but I really did get a kick out of my neighborhood with somebody having this little pop-up sale. And the more I think about it, I could see it being I could have totally seen a Cabi user with these other women. People were having a some hot cocoa. Like it was just a nice little event. So I do love the power of community. I love the power of kind of ground level, and I think that's where you guys are at Cabi. One of my good friends used to be a former teacher and a Cabi seller as well, and we always used to enjoy just connecting with one another and seeing what she has to sell. But on top of it, you really want to think about an online strategy as well.
I had a question. I do have the pro account. How can you put all the collections, like at the end of this season, I want to advertise everything I have available. You said something about you could do all collections on one plan or one link.
Yes. So if you did that, you would have 2 ways you could do that. Number one, let me see if I can get back over to my other account now. Number one, you could upgrade in Cheddar Up. You could go to what we call our team subscription plan, and you could take advantage of our group page functionality. I can show you that. Basically, what that allows you to do is it does allow you to put multiple collections on a single link, and then you could share just the one link and they could go to all your different collections. That's one way you could do it. The other way you could consider is there is some functionality, and I'm trying to pull up this other account and then I'll move over so you can see it. There is some functionality in Cheddar Up. Hold on. Let me see. Like I said, apologies. I've got just a lot of accounts and my computer's getting a little annoyed with me. Let me see if this one opens. But there is some functionality in Cheddar Up where you can move items so they're all on one collection. So let's say you didn't do the team plan. Oh, let me come over here. But maybe you've run 3 collections in a year, 3 sample sales. Now it's the end of the year. You're coming up. You've got the last 2 weeks. You're not so worried about every one of these items on the separate sample sales. You could build a new collection. You could call it 2025 blowout, 2025 clearance, whatever you want to call it, right? And then you could go through your 3 old collections from the year, and you could move the items if you wanted to another collection. So for example, I can use this button here that says select all. It'll select all of my items. And then there's this little fancy thing right here that says move to, and it'll find a different collection. So I would only do this at the end of your season if you don't want to upgrade to team. but build that new collection. Like I said, call it Blowout 2025 event, and then take all of those items from the three collections that have run all year, drop them into one. Now you have one link. Those items will no longer exist on your other collection. So I wouldn't do this until you're ready to consolidate, but then you could consolidate into one collection.
That's great.
Mhm.
If something I moved was, let's say, 65% off, but then the rest of the collection was 50, is it still going to show the 65 versus like whatever the price is
Yeah,
there?
it won't change the price for you. All it's going to do is take this item and move it to a new collection.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Obviously, just remember your old collections then won't have anything on them, so close them.
Oh, sure. What do you have to do to close them?
What's that?
What do you have to do to close it?
You can close them when you come over to your, let me make sure I remember where this is. Oh, you guys have so many good questions. I think it's here. If it's not here, I know where it is. You can come back over here. You come to your primary dashboard. I think it might be on this page, but I can't remember, but I'll show you where it is here. Come to your primary dashboard. Sorry, my mouse has died and I'm using my touchpad. Ah, there we go. You come to your primary dashboard. You come over here. You hover. You get these icons. You click on the three dots, and then I should see close there. Right there's close. So what's nice about that is you'll still have the collection in existence behind the scenes. Your money will still show there, but all of the items will now be moved. They won't be in two spots. You could replicate your items and move them too. But I mean, so you have some options, but in general, what I would say is one new collection, 2025 blowout, and then either replicate and move and close or move completely and close.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I see people starting to sign off. It's 3:15 now, so we went a little over. Thank you, everybody, for hanging on with me. I'm probably have to get a little bit more succinct, but there's also just a lot of information to cover here. So it's really nice when we get some live users on there. I appreciate that you guys join us. This is going to be recorded. If you did sign up, we'll go ahead and send it to you via email as well, so you'll have the recording. Again, if you need help or need to reach us, you can come over to here to help, start a chat. Go to our Knowledge Center, reach us at friendlysupport.com, and good luck selling. And we're here to support you. And I can stay on if you have any other questions. If not, thank you so much for spending your time with me. And you are not going to offend me at all right now if you hang up. And I hope you have a good rest of December and Happy New Year.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Heather.
much.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to turn off the stop here and I'm going to go ahead and just end our conversation. So thank you, everybody, again for joining us. Have a great day.